the tip of the week. I'm really excited about this one. Lots of fun, and I think everyone will be able to take a little bit of something away from the tip of the week this week. David, if it's okay, may I pass it over to you on how to showcase 25 and more company stats and data to boost your website's credibility?
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about credibility in many of the previous webinars, but we primarily focused on established websites. It's always hard for brand new websites to showcase some level of credibility and to establish a level of trust with their users and website visitors. So this presentation should be pretty useful for the majority of website owners out there, whether you have an existing website that's been around for a while or you're just starting a new one. We went ahead and kind of split up some ideas in here depending on which stage your website is at. So figured we'd start off by talking about why credibility is important. This is probably pretty intuitive to the majority of you, but the very first question that website visitors will have in the back of their mind when they're coming to your website is, can I trust this organization? So our overall goal here is to answer that question for our website visitors with a definite yes, our organization, our website can be trusted. Now, the credibility of your brand does have a direct impact on your bottom line, the ability to sell memberships, generate leads, sell content if you're charging for that, all of that, everything having to do with your website. Credibility plays a major role in all of that. So we want to make sure our users and our website visitors are comfortable enough to join our website, to do business with us, to enter in their credit card information if you're going to be charging them for their membership, for paying for leads, paying for posts, all of that sort of stuff. So we want to create a website that shows that our business or organization is trustworthy. And we want to do that by showing our users how far we've come and how far we still have to go, how we're growing, how we're progressing, and how the wheels keep spinning within our organization and on our website.
Yeah, and also credibility. If you do all these things, it increases your credibility, and credibility increases the perceived value or potential experience or benefit people can gain from joining up with your organization. So credibility also helps with perceived value and perception, and I think that takes us into the next slide here, right, David?
Absolutely. Perception, great segue into this slide. We figured we'd go into exactly what credibility is. So there was a presentation put out by Dr. PJ Fogg from Stanford. He basically summarized credibility in terms of web credibility specifically as perceived trustworthiness in addition to perceived expertise. So how trustworthy website visitors and users perceive our website to be and our organization, as well as what level of experience, expertise, authority in our industry we appear to have. So there's 4 types of credibility that this presentation laid out. First one was presumed credibility. This is basically just general assumptions that we typically make. So for example, a Gmail email address that's listed maybe on your contact page, that's going to appear to be a lot less credible than a company email address actually on your website's domain, sharing the same domain name with your website. Or another example, if you have a nonprofit, having your website on a .org domain might appear to be more credible than on a .com domain. So those are just some general assumptions that we would make. Second form of credibility, reputed credibility. This comes by way of somebody who's viewed as an authority figure or somebody with an immense level of credibility within our target industry or our niche. For example, general example here, Oprah's book club and the products she recommends, those recommendations go a long way in increasing the sales of those books, those products. Another one would be the New York Times bestsellers list. Or for example, if your target industry or your niche is business growth or entrepreneurship, maybe a shout out from somebody credible like Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, or any of the other sharks from the Shark Tank TV show. That would be reputed credibility. Number 3, surface credibility. This is simply just based on our first impressions of interacting with, in this case, our website. So a website with good messaging, good organization, high quality images, that's going to appear to be a lot more credible than a confusing, disorganized site with low quality images. And finally, earned credibility. This is credibility that takes some time to build, but it comes by way of users actually experiencing and using our website. So a member who has a phenomenal experience on our website, if they have any problems, we're able to solve them quickly. They signed up for specific benefits and they're getting those benefits and they're actually seeing the value from it. That's earned credibility versus somebody who has a poor experience on our website. We're going to probably end up losing credibility in that case. So those are the 4 different types of credibility that we kind of want to keep in mind as we're making changes, additions, updates to our website, what kind of language we're using on the website, all of that sort of stuff.
And just to clarify, these don't happen in these steps, everyone. All this happens at the exact same time in real time. If somebody's visiting your website, your domain name, like David mentioned, the .org versus the .com versus the .net, those things can affect our presumed credibility towards the site. The reputed credibility is maybe they were referred by a friend, so getting someone else's referral to your site, or maybe they saw a commercial or an ad, or they found you on someone else's website. That can help with your reputed credibility. The surface credibility is how your website looks when they first come to your website. And then the earned credibility, in 1 second, people are already interacting with your website. You could have pop-ups on your site. Are those good pop-ups? Are those annoying pop-ups? So that you're already creating an experience the moment someone comes to your site. So all these things happen together in real time. It's not like a step-by-step thing that happens with these types of credibility. So keep that in mind.
Excellent mention there. Yeah, there's no specific step to that. All those forms of credibility do happen at the same time. So like I mentioned, we went ahead and we put a list together and we split the list up into things that you can share and mention on your website that would really be more useful for brand new websites. And then for more established websites, ones that have some data and some hard numbers, some really good KPIs, key performance indicators that they can share with their website visitors and their prospective members. We've went ahead and segmented those elements out as well. So I think for experienced websites, you can probably take a little bit from both of these lists. For brand new sites who don't really have too much data behind them to share and hard numbers and everything, I think this first list would probably be most useful. So I'll go through these kind of quickly because we do have some examples to show you after this, but some very basic things that we can list on our website to help increase credibility from the beginning for new websites who haven't really got the ball rolling yet, is to list a physical street address. This kind of lets people know, even if they're not going to send you mail or anything, it lets them know that you're not just hiding behind a website online, that there actually is something physical behind it. And if you don't have an office space or anything like that, you can even get a PO box. Another one is to have a highly visible phone number. Again, people might not be calling you, but at least it gives them a sense of kind of trustworthiness that if they do have a problem, they can pick up the phone, they can actually speak to a real person rather than, again, kind of just dealing with a faceless website. Another one is to embed a live chat for visitors. This kind of goes hand in hand with the phone number, but if they do have some questions or they're not sure how to do something, at least they can connect with a real person who's willing and able to help them out. Another one, display your professional affiliations and memberships. So this would have to do more with the niche or the target industry that you're operating within. But if there's any sort of associations or other sorts of groups that you're a part of, drop those logos, maybe in your website footer or something like that. If you're listed in the Better Business Bureau, maybe include their logo down there in your website footer or something like that. As I mentioned, put a face to your business. People want to know that they're not just dealing with some faceless website with people who maybe just set it up and kind of aren't actively managing it. So, maybe take one of your headshots, include it on your about page, add a little message from the president, the co-founder, whatever your title is. This way people know who is actually behind it and they're able to form a connection with a person rather than just another website. Going along with that, if you have any team members, you can include pictures of them, their names, maybe a little bit about them, what kind of experience they have in the space. You could also list the year you were established or founded. If this is a brand new website, that might not be totally impressive if you've only been around for a few months or a year or something like that. But what you can do, if you do have a team of people, you can mention the years of combined experience that you have. So maybe it's just two of you starting this website. Maybe you both have 15 years of experience. You can say that the founders of this community, of this website, have combined 30 years experience in this specific niche, this specific industry. Or again, if it's just you, maybe you've been in this industry for your entire career. Maybe you have 40 years of experience. You should certainly list that. It shows that you're credible and you know what you're talking about, and you know how this industry works. You can also tell your story on your about page. Again, that goes kind of hand in hand with letting people know who the founder is of the website or the team behind it. Also, highlight any news or press that you may have. If you reach out to any news organizations or blogs or anything like that, if they happen to write an article about you, list their logo on your website that links out to the article written about you. Or if you're paying for press releases or something like that get picked up by local news websites or anything like that, you can include those logos on your website, even if it's a paid press release. If people are mentioning your new community, maybe on forums somewhere, on Reddit, maybe some review sites, if they're negative reviews, you definitely want to reply to them, reply to them sincerely. Again, this shows that there's somebody actually behind the website and behind the community who cares. And especially if it's positive as well, you want to reply to those as well. Thank them for taking the time to talk about your website or your community. What you can also do is you can offer some sort of satisfaction guarantee. Maybe if you're only charging for memberships, you don't have any free options, maybe you want to offer some sort of satisfaction guarantee where if they're not getting what they anticipated out of their membership, that you give them a no questions asked refund or something like that to try to get people signed up on your website initially. And then lastly, what you can do on your about page, again, this goes hand in hand with explaining a little bit about the people behind the website and the community, is sharing your values and commitment. This, again, lets people connect more with an actual person, somebody who they share values with, rather than just a faceless website, another one of the millions of websites out there online.
This is a really, really great list, David. It's before the webinar we were putting this together, but you added a bunch more here, and I'm sure there's tons more. It's finding the hidden gems or the intangible things that make your company or your brand awesome, and sharing that on your website with your visitors. So you can get really creative. These are some really good obvious ones here, David, and I think a little later in the webinar we can hear from some of the attendees on what they think and what they're doing as well.
I think the main thing for brand new websites is your goal is going to be to connect with people emotionally, because you don't have those hard numbers, those statistics behind you to back up your claims. You're going to want to create some sort of emotional connection with them.
Right. I always say, especially when you're starting out brand new, you want to get people behind your mission, behind your cause. You want to establish what your commitment is, how you're doing new things for the industry that you're serving, or why you're different, and why people should give you a chance or rally behind you and give you a shot.
Absolutely. So moving into some KPIs, key performance indicators for established websites to share. So this is where we get into some of those hard numbers, that data, those statistics that you can share with website visitors to actually back up your claims that you do have credibility and authority in your target demographic, your niche, your target industry. So the first one, mention flat out the total number of registered users or members you have. You could also mention your daily or monthly website visitor count. Maybe if you have several hundred daily website visitors, maybe you'll want to mention your monthly website visitors. That way, that number's in the thousands. It looks a little bit more impressive. You could also include your total email subscribers, total page views. It kind of adds a sense of social credibility, where if other people are using your website, you have registered members already, you have people who aren't registered, just website visitors coming to your website to see the content that's on your website, to connect with your members, all that sort of stuff. It gives people a sense that you do have some actual authority in whatever space it is that you're in, and it makes it more comfortable and easier for them to sign up with you and give you their information if they know that other people are trusting you as well. So average profile views, number of monthly searches, you can include these numbers to persuade website visitors to sign up on your website and create a listing if they know that existing listings on your website are actually getting traffic and traction and views and everything like that. You can also include social media followers, total leads matched. Again, this just adds to a sense that other people are trusting you, and that just adds to your credibility, the bigger following that you have and the more users that you have. So if you can share those numbers, that will go a long way. Another really impressive number, if you can get this, is if you're selling leads or distributing leads to your members for them to gain more clients, customers, business, whatever it may be, if you can get some sort of sense of how much revenue has been generated from your members based on the leads that you've generated and distributed to them, that would be a terrific number to share, because that shows that your professional members are actually benefiting big time from their membership on your website, that they're actually able to cultivate new customers and new clients from your website. What you could also do is get some user-generated content statistics. So if your members are publishing content on your website, see how many views those pieces of content are getting on your website. You can also tally up your total website comments if you're utilizing the community comments add-on on the website. You can tally that up. That kind of goes in line with the social media followers. It lets people know how much interaction is going on within your community. User testimonials go a huge way, especially if you can get a photo of the member or the user who gave you a testimonial. If it's a registered member in your site, they probably have a profile photo on their listing, so you can grab that. But again, having photos of actual faces of people, it allows new visitors to your website to be able to actually connect with a person. Again, endorsements from industry leaders. This would go back into the reputed credibility that we talked about. If you have an established website and you're able to get a shout out or a testimonial from an authority figure within your target industry or your niche, that will go a long way. And then lastly, displaying any awards, badges, accolades, recognition that you've gotten for the service that you've done for your community and anything like that. So these are elements to add to your website, probably if you've been around for a while. Brand new websites, again, you'll want to connect more with website visitors on an emotional level, whereas if you've been around for a while, you'll still want to have those emotional connections on your website to connect with new visitors, but you can back up those emotional claims with these key performance indicators.
And actually taking a second look at this, David, this is exactly the type of information you'd put inside of a media kit for potential advertisers to get a sneak peek about. So if you're going to make a deck that showcases your website, your demographics, these kinds of stats and probably some more are exactly what potential advertisers on your site would want to see, and it would determine what the price for the advertising on your site would be as well, based on the eyeballs and activity and things like that. So also, as David mentioned, we do have some examples on a demo site we created. We could see how some of these key performance indicators and some of these items can be viewed on a website, how you can display them. So let's take a look at that together. We have 3 pages that we can try.
I think let's start on this page here, and we'll show just some general single elements, and then we'll show some previous pages that we had from other webinars that are more comprehensive.
Cool. And we just stack these on the same page just so we can show them one by one, but you can sprinkle these around your website. You can have a couple on your homepage, a few on your About Us page, even have a message from the founder on top of the pricing options on your site, like full transparency. We welcome you to choose a plan below. We're here for you. Give that confidence there. So in this example, we've just stacked them on top of each other, but feel free to sprinkle these on some of the informational pages on your site and your homepage. So I'll let you take it away, David. Why don't you just give us a quick overview of what we're looking at here as we scroll down the page.
Yeah, so on this page, all of these elements were made pretty quickly with just the standard draggable content blocks that we have in the web page editor. So this first one, just some quick stats and numbers to share with website visitors. You've probably seen this a lot on some modern websites, but you can, instead of just sharing individual numbers, you can kind of group them up like that and put it on your homepage. Next up, we have a simple testimonial. Again, you'll really want to use a photo of an actual person if you're able to get it. That will allow website visitors to actually connect with them on a more personal, emotional level. Then the next section, again, this goes back to listing any news websites that your website might have been listed on. Again, if you pay for a press release that gets picked up by like a local news website or anything like that, you can certainly include that here. You can just list the news organization logos and then just link those out to whatever the article or the press release was that's hosted on their site. This next one is a newsletter CTA. This kind of mixes the two concepts of the emotional connection with being backed up by some data. So grow your knowledge is the headline here, trying to connect with the website visitor on more of an emotional level. And then we have join 30,000 other industry professionals to kind of back up the claim that we're an authority within our space, that 30,000 other people trust us, they're getting their news from us, things like that. And then lastly, a message from the founder with, again, a photo of you if you're comfortable doing that. I think this will go a long way. This lets people know who's actually behind the website and the organization. And then we have just some 2 buttons out there. That will link out to, if you have a mission page, you can link out to that. And if you have a team page to see the rest of the people behind the website or the organization, you can link out to that page.
This is really cool, David. I like what you've done here. Some of them have calls to action. Some of them keep them clicking. Actually, I didn't see this before either. So not only can you give them an emotional message, but then you can draw them further and deeper into your company's commitment, your mission, and who the people are behind this enterprise. And then just one quick thing, if we scroll back up to the top here, you guys are in control of your site. You can cherry pick the best stats that you have to present and display and put them on your website. So you can pick and choose what would present best and display best to visitors on your site. And sometimes it might not be solid numbers. Maybe you want to use percentages like month over month growth of members. Instead of doing numbers, go by percentages. And then you could use that kind of data as well. So just a thought there. But let's say we clicked on one of these links here, like meet our team. We did have another page, right, Dave, here?
So this is a page that we had from a previous webinar that we built out with, I believe this was with draggable content blocks as well as the hero section here. But if you take a little bit of extra time to kind of customize the default draggable content blocks, you can really make the layout your own, really make it stand out. And so this is just kind of a sample Teams page here that we have. I believe we have some other stuff down below about core values. If you can include a video of you speaking about the organization or a video testimonial or anything like that, videos work great to add credibility. Below that, some more stuff about core beliefs and values, kind of what the organization stands for. And then I believe under that, we had another call to action. Yeah, want to grow your business, let's get started. So here, want to grow your business, that connects with people emotionally. Again, if your website has been around for a while, you already have some registered members, you could say something like join 30,000 other professionals, join today, something like that.
That's great. And these are all things that new sites starting out can add to, again, either their homepage or their mission, commitment page, promise page, whatever it might be. And then we had one more page just as an example. This was also from a previous webinar, right, David?
Yeah, this one is basically, I guess you could classify this as a mission page or like a mission statement. Again, this was made with the draggable content blocks and then the hero section at the top here. But again, if you just take a little bit of extra time to kind of customize those draggable content blocks, really make it your own, add some high quality images. This page actually would have benefited a lot from an image or two of people's faces, again, so that visitors could connect with people rather than just reading text and looking at some generic images. But again, for new websites especially, you can add all of this sort of information to, again, primarily try to connect with new website visitors on that emotional level to get some of those initial members and users in. And then once you start to kind of establish your brand a little, you can start to incorporate whatever numbers look most impressive.
That's right, because it's not just about join our directory or search members. Like we have to give people an experience and something to rally behind and learn about. So, adding some of these elements to your site, whether it's raw stats or it's emotional connections that you want to create. I like how you listed the ways to contact the business as the first 3 items on this checklist, David. People knowing that there are people behind a brand or a company is a big deal for establishing credibility rather than just being some random ambiguous organization that really doesn't have any method to get in touch with.